Okay, howdy, we are live. Um, my name is Kenneth Coleman, and I will be talking about the Vitoris versicolor firefly.
I'm Travis Gatlin. Forgive me, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather here. November's got me down. Anyway, I'm talking about the Vela Americana, better known as the antlion. You probably remember it from our monster bug video in class. We're discussing which is a better predator as an immature. And Ken's going to start us here.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start my timer. All right, the Vitoris versicolor are a species complex of fireflies restricted to North America. They are mostly common found east of Texas and south of Manitoba. They occupy meadows, woods, forests, and they live under debris and bark and decaying vegetation on the ground. The only exception to that is whenever they're mating, they fly a few feet above the ground. They are larger than other species of firefly, and they range from 20 millimeters to 50 millimeters in length. The females are actually bigger than the males, and they are actually stronger as well. They are brownish blackish in color. They have a predominant diagonal stripe down the shoulder of each wing cover. They have exceptional eyesight due to the fact that when they use like a flash-based visual signaling to find mates, which brings me to my point of why they're such great predators. The female is predatory while the males are not. They are known to prey on 11 species of firefly, and 12 other Vitoris species are prey on at least 2 or more species as well. The females of each species of firefly has a unique flash pattern sequence that males and females of the same species use to identify one another. Knowing this, the females are known to alter their modulations to mimic closely related species in order to lure the males of these species as their prey. These behaviors include luring other species close enough to perform aerial attacks or hovering in the vicinity of the female, which is signaling to ambush the arriving male. And Travis, my time is up.
All right, perfect. So the antlion is best known for the traps, it digs to capture prey. We saw this in the video in class, and even without any kind of fancy soundtrack in the background, it's pretty cool. But more importantly, it's deadly, right? So fireflies are cute, but in avalanching whole, there's not really a competition going on. As for the antlion's life, the immature stage is obviously much more well known, but it's pretty interesting. The adults are often mistaken for dragonflies because of their similar characteristics, but they typically only fly after dark. Today we're going to focus on the immature, like I said. They're called doodle bugs in the past because of the patterns that they leave behind them in the sand from crawling around. The little guys even look pretty ferocious, right? So they have a large abdomen and a flat head with a jaw, including canals for injecting venom into victims. Okay, so long story short, you can think of them, or you can thank them for ridding your sandbox of these pesky predators, ants. They dig some sweet traps and they're pretty ferocious. They go through several stages in their life cycle, which can take years, and they're pretty cool looking as immature, but mistaken for dragonflies as matures. How can another bug even compare to that? All right, so now we'll take it to Ken again.
All right, so you said that they don't even have an anus. How can that even possibly be cool?
Well, it's kind of a weird question, but oddly enough, while the antlion doesn't have a butthole or anus, this actually relates into a strength. Okay, so all the waste that's stored in there is used to spin silk sometimes. Maybe the sheets for your firefly's deathbed. So I got to ask you, how do the females mimic other species modulations?
Start my timer. The females are actually erratic, highly variable flashers, capable of many types of flashes. They lure other species by performing, in effect, what's called the electronic warfare technique known as mechaning, which is the interception and broadcast of navigation signals which in turn give inaccurate bearings. And in this case, they give false flash patterns, excuse me, which are modulations of other firefly species. Because of this, the Photorius species are sometimes called femme fatale fireflies, which femme fatale means an irresistibly attractive woman, especially one who leads men into difficult, dangerous, or disastrous situations. And now my question to you would be, oops, there's my timer. The firefly is too smart to walk into one of those holes, so how do they fight then?
Okay, the antlion is actually going to be very extremely sensitive to low frequency sounds on the ground. They can hear things moving around above them, and they can even tell which direction they're going to be moving across. So even when other insects and spiders come close, he can hear it and will trigger his avalanche, catching you, and then he's going to use those piercers and their canals to suck out your digestive fluid. So even if you're too smart to walk by the hole, they can still suck you in, suck out your fluids, and kill you, obviously. So closing statements here, we're going to go back to Ken.
All right, start my timer. Because the Photorius versicolor has the ability to mimic the other fireflies and lure them into their death, this impacts the research being conducted by scientists due to creating what's called a taxonomic puzzle. Taxonomic meaning the science or technique of classification. So since scientists identify fireflies by their flashes, it is often hard to determine whether a Photorius flash is genuinely its own species-specific flash, or whether it's an imitation of another species. Therefore, there may be further subdivisions not yet recognized due to the complications in the study of the Photorius versicolor. Really, they're really fascinating insects due to the science behind the different flashes and the different ways they create and control their modulations. Travis?
Yeah, so we can all see, how awesome this antlion is, even if he's not an actual lion. Okay, there are fierce predators that can take down even the strongest of prey. They can drown them in sand and suck out their insides. I mean, who else can even come close to that level of cool, right? But they're also important because they're good for our society. Think of the silk, and they kill these pesky ants. They're fun to look at. They're fun to study. People have been doing it for thousands of years. There's even French poems about them. They think their name was mistaken from the book of Job. All in all, think of what you want about which insect you want to win. I mean, you can think about which insect you're going to want to win, but just know that the antlion is awesome in its own right, as is the firefly, I'm sure. But I think that's all we've got for you guys.
Yeah, so I think that's it. All right. Thanks, Travis.
Thank you, Ken.